Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do the perfect Gel X nails, so just keep on watching. First you want to start out with bare nails like I have here, and ideally you want them to be a little bit short, as you could see. What you could do is just take a nail cutter and cut around the edges if you want. Depending on the nail shape, you might want it to be a little bit more rounded, so I'm going to do that first. So you want all your nails to look something like this. Once all of your nails are cut, you want to buff the surface of your nails very lightly. I like to use one of these buffing blocks. You can get a sheet of them off of Amazon, and you just want to lightly do the surface of your nail. And make sure to get all of the sides. So you want to do that to all of your nails. And now that your nails are buffed, you can take the optional step of pushing your cuticles back or cutting them. I actually do like to trim them. I know some people don't like to do that, but I prefer to do that. I think it gives a cleaner look. One product that I really recommend and have been using for many years is this cuticle remover by Sally Hansen. What I like to do is just put it along the cuticle and also the sides of the nail. And you just want to let this sit for about 15 seconds. Once that's done, you can use a cuticle pusher just to push back the cuticles. You can also use an orange stick if you want, but I just lightly go against the surface of the nail and push it back just very gently. And of course, you want to do this on all of your nails. Once that's done, you can actually just wipe the gel off. I like to use these little lint-free wipes, but you can go like this on all of your nails. Then if you're going to be trimming your cuticles, I like to use a cuticle cutter. I use one that just looks like this. And you just want to very gently go across the edge of your cuticle and just lightly cut off any of the excess skin that's there. And once it's trimmed, it'll look something like this, and it'll just be very clean looking. So I'm going to go ahead and do this to all of my nails. Once you're done with that, make sure you go and rinse off your nails and do it with no soap like how they tell you at the nail salon. Something I like to do is just take alcohol on a lint-free wipe and just kind of go over all the nails just to get rid of any extra oil that may be on the surface. And this will also kill any bacteria, which is good, so it keeps the manicure very clean. And just let that dry a little bit. Now what we want to do is take our Gel X tips. So they have a lot of different options, but my favorite are the short almond. I think they're the perfect length, and honestly they're not even that short. They're almost like a medium length. They are sorted by size. So what you want to start doing is sizing out the nails, and you want to see which ones fit all of your fingers and start lining them up. By the way, as you do this, I highly recommend making a note in your phone of all the sizes for your nails so that you don't have to keep doing this every time you do a manicure. So for example, my left thumb is a size 2, and the way to tell what your nail size is making sure that the nail reaches each side of your actual nail, so it's not too small at all. It should cover the full thing, as you could see here, but it also should not be hanging off. If you are between sizes, I recommend sizing up so that you can just file it down rather than it being too small, because it does make a kind of weird look when the nail doesn't reach the edge like that, and they do tend to shrink just a tiny bit when you cure them. Once you've decided on the right size for your nail, you just want to lay it out almost like how your fingers would be so that you can keep track of which nail goes on your actual nails. Now, once you have laid out the nails, I actually like to buff the inside of them so that they stick better to your actual nail. And the easiest way to do this is using an e-file. I use this Melody Susie one, and this is the bit that I like to use. So you actually need like a little bit of a sanding belt. This is a 180 grit buffer that I'm using, and I would say set it to about maybe like between 5,000 and 8,000 RPMs. You don't want it to be going too fast, but what you're gonna do is just take your nail like this, and you are going to lightly just run this in the middle of the nail like this. And it requires very little effort, which is why I like using the e-file. So as you could see, that took very little time, and I just did about 1/3 of the nail, just around the cuticle, because that will get rid of some of the bulk and make it blend more seamlessly. And this will also help the nails to not lift and to stick to your natural nail. So again, you're just gonna do this to all of the tips. Now that these are all buffed out, we can actually start applying them. So I've got my UV lamp here. I'm gonna start with this pH bonder and just apply this very lightly to each of my nails. This is kind of like the alcohol. You don't necessarily need this step, but I do like to do it just to be very thorough. So just do a thin layer and allow that to dry. And try not to let any of these products touch your skin because you don't want to get contact dermatitis. So try to strictly just keep it on the actual nail. Then I'm going to go in with this primer and we're just gonna also paint this onto the surface of the nails. Again, just making sure to get only the surface of the nail. Don't put too much product and obviously do not get it on your skin. And this primer is going to help all of the product to stick and make your manicure last. Now what I like to do is take the Extend gel. This is kind of like the gel glue that we're going to be using, and just do a very thin coat on each of your nails. And this is kind of a thicker texture, so you only need a little bit, but you just want to go onto the surface of the nail and just make sure you do a very thin coat. And I'm going to do the full hand. Once that's done, you want to cure your nails. I would say put it in for a full minute. And then you just want to do the same thing on the other hand, and then we will continue on with the tutorial. So now we have both hands ready to apply the nail tips. So firstly, what you're gonna need and what I recommend is using this LED light. This right here is, I think it's called a gooseneck UV light. And basically what it does is cure one nail at a time, and you don't need to press any buttons. So it's very easy to cure the nail exactly how you want it. So I've got my little spotlight and I'm going to take the Extend gel and I'm going to use this as the glue to start applying the nail tips. Take your nail tip like this, and you want to apply a very small amount of the Extend gel to about half of the inner part of the nail. And this does take a little bit of practice, but I like to do a thin layer across the part that I actually buffed. And the key is to keep some of the product more toward the bottom. And I'm not gonna lie, this does take a bit of practice to perfect. Sometimes I still kind of mess up how much glue to put, and you want to start at the base of your nail. So you're gonna take the very bottom cuticle part and you're just gonna take it shoved along your cuticle and just gently press it down like this and kind of allow the Extend gel to glide outward. And just press down firmly and try to get it to go to all sides. And it's okay if it starts squeezing out a little bit, but just shove it under the light. And this definitely takes some practice. As you could see, some of the glue did come out, but you just want to hold this under the lamp like this, and this is going to set it right in place. And you just want to hold it like that for about 30 seconds. You really want to make sure this is cured so that there's no loose gel underneath your nail. The placement of the nail is great. There's no air bubbles or anything like that, but it did squeeze out around the edges. So when this happens, I like to take my cuticle cutter and go around the edge like this, and you can kind of like lightly trim away the extra gel. This is obviously not ideal, but it is a way to kind of clean up your work without messing up your nails or having to redo the whole thing. So this is obviously not perfect, but it is still pretty good. So let's continue on with the rest of the nails. So again, you're just gonna take the Extend gel and just put it on the buffed part and get all of the sides very nicely. And then you're just gonna place it down and press down. And then we'll move it under the light and just hold it for about 30 seconds. Now I've got 2 nail tips on, and I'm just gonna continue and do the rest off camera. All right, so we've got all of the nail tips on, and what you wanna do now is buff and shape the nails. As you could see, mine are already shaped, so I don't really have to do much filing, but I am going to buff my nails. For this, you could use the e-file if you wanted to, but I personally like to use a buffing block for this. I think it's more gentle. So I just like to go again on the surface of the nail and kind of just buff it out like this. And you just want to get the whole surface so that the gel we apply sticks really well. And you want to get around the cuticle really well so that it blends as seamlessly as possible into any of your natural nail that may be peeking through, especially once they start to grow out. So you want it to look like this once it's all buffed out. Sometimes there might be a little bit of like this piece at the end of your nail tip. I don't know if you could really see that, but you could definitely just buff that out really gently so that the end and tip of your nail is nice and smooth. And for this, I like to use more of a rough grit nail file because it's very quick and easy to just seamlessly shape the nails. That now looks a lot better. So I'm just going to do all of my nails and come right on back. Now that they are buffed and filed, what I like to do again is just go rinse my nails to get all of this dust off. Again, don't use any soap. And then this is more of an optional step, but you can go again with an alcohol wipe and just kind of clean the surface. So far this tutorial has been how to apply the Gel X tips, but now we're going to actually start doing the design. So I'm going to keep it very simple and just do a light pink chrome today. The color that I like to use is actually from this set that I got from Amazon. It's a light pink that I really like the tone of. This is by Rargism and this is the color 266. You could use a base coat. I don't feel like it's necessary and I don't want to make my nail thicker than it needs to be. So I'm just going to do a coat of this on each nail. As you can see, it applies very nicely. This is a nice sheer pink. It should look good on any skin tone. It's better to do thin coats of sheer versus thick coats because it creates a better texture to the nail. It kind of helps to use your other hand. Pinky is like a little stand for your finger. It kind of like stabilizes it. So now we're going to cure this for about 60 seconds. And now we're going to do the second hand. Now we're going to cure this one, again for 60 seconds. Now we're going to go in with the second coat. And again, 60 seconds. This hand is 2 coats and this hand is 1 coat. I think 2 coats obviously looks a lot better. You could even go for a third if you wanted to. I'm undecided if I want to do a third, but we're going to go on with the second coat on the right hand. Now 60 seconds. So I've decided to stick with the 2 coats for this video, but you could do a third if you would like to. I kind of want it to look a little bit more natural. This is an optional step, but I'm just going to do another wipe to make sure there's no dust because this top coat step is one of the most important steps. So what we're going to be doing is applying a non-wipe top coat to do our chrome powder, and this is a very important step because for the chrome to look its best, there needs to be no lint, no imperfections, and just a very smooth surface, and it has to be a non-wipe top coat. The one that I'm using is by the same brand, and we're just gonna do a thin layer on each of the nails. And when you do this, make sure that you apply it completely to the whole surface of the nail so that when you do the chrome powder, there are no missing patches. And if you don't want to do the chrome powder step, you can just apply this top coat, cure it, and then be done. So this is for the people that want to do the chrome. I personally prefer it, and I think it really just makes this whole look. And before you cure, just very carefully check over the surface, make sure there's no weird indents or pieces of lint, nothing like that. If there is, just quickly go over it and make sure it's nice and smooth. If you are doing the chrome, you want to cure this for 30 seconds. If you are not, you want to do at least 60 seconds. And this is where it helps to have a gel light that has the timers on it. So into the UV light. Now that we've done that, you want to take your chrome powder of choice. This is actually my favorite one that I've used so far. This is also from Amazon, so I will link it below. But it's just a nice, really pearly white, and it has a really nice mirror finish. Now, usually these come with kind of like a eyeshadow applicator, but I'm gonna try to use this with the tip of my finger. I've seen people use that technique and it's come out really nice. So let's attempt that now. I'm just going to lightly dip into the powder with a very small amount, and we're just gonna rub this on. And as you can see, that worked very well. It should have kind of like a mirror-like finish. Sometimes this can come out cloudy if you have too much of the sticky layer, which is why people say to use the non-wipe top coat as well as use the alcohol wipe. So I'm gonna apply this to the rest of the nails. And I have a very small amount, as you could see, so you don't need much at all. The nail with the chrome is a lot more shiny and it's looking like a glazed donut. Now that you've applied the chrome powder, you just want to go over that with the top coat again, and you're going to cure that, and that's going to make sure that the chrome powder actually stays on. If you don't do the top coat, it's just going to go away when you wash your hands. So here we are just applying the top coat once again. And again, try to do kind of more of a thin layer because you don't want this to come out too thick looking. And this will be your final layer of gel polish. You just want to go into the UV light one more time, and this time you want to do it for the full 60 seconds. And of course you will want to do the other hand. Alright, so now both hands are finished and we are done with all of the gel. Now I'd recommend actually washing your hands. Again, you could go over it with an alcohol wipe, but I'm just gonna go wash my hands with some soap. For the full manicure effect, you could use like a hand scrub if you wanted to. So I'm gonna do that and then come on back. Okay, and we are back. So we have officially completed our manicure. As you could see, the nails came out absolutely amazing, and it's really not that hard to do, especially once you have all of the tools. What you could do now is apply your favorite lotion or cuticle oil and enjoy your new manicure. So here is the final result. This is such a nice technique. You could do this with any colors, any powders, whatever you would like, but it really is foolproof. I actually loved using my finger to apply the chrome. I feel like it made such a more shiny finish compared to using the sponge applicator, so I do recommend that. But yes, here is a little close-up of the nails, and I really hope that you guys liked this video. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I will try my best to answer all of them. And I will link everything that I used in the description so that it's easy for you guys to get all of the supplies that you need. But yes, that is everything for today's video. I hope you guys liked it and that it was helpful, and I will see you guys in the next one.